Matt, welcome to episode 4 of this little progression vodcast. Thank you very much for coming on. For those of you who I think a lot of students might recognise your picture from around college, but can you just introduce yourself, let us know when you're at Reigate and which subjects you studied?
Hi everyone. So I was at Reigate from 2014 to 2016, and I was at Reigate School before this. So I was at the college. I studied maths, physics, and business, and I also did graphic design at AS level as well.
And what are you doing now?
So I'm on a KPMG sponsored degree program. So this means I spend time at Durham University working towards my degree, but also spend time at KPMG working in audit at the minute. I'm also working towards my ACA, which is a kind of internationally recognized accounting qualification. So I'm on my kind of final year, so I'm working towards the kind of last steps of the ACA qualification at the minute.
Okay, so tell us a little bit, for those people who don't know what KPMG is, who are they basically?
Yeah, so KPMG is one of kind of a big four accountancy and professional services firm. So there's kind of three main kind of areas in the business, and that is audit, which essentially looks at kind of financial statements and checking the accuracy of the financial statements and kind of business processes. And then there's a kind of tax side, which does lots of tax work for companies. And then there's a kind of consulting side as well, which has kind of all a kind of array of different departments within that. So it's kind of a firm that helps other businesses and kind of helps meet the kind of clients' demands. But really, it's that there's so many different areas. It really does do so many different things for clients, basically.
No, that's really cool. So your sponsored degree, what was the process in terms of, so obviously you were at Reigate and then you applied for the sponsored degree, but what was kind of like the interview and the selection process and that like?
Yeah, so it was quite a long assessment process. So it starts off with a kind of online application where you have some questions to answer about what you've kind of been doing and kind of why you're interested in the program. And then the kind of second stage is some online tests. So these are kind of like verbal and numerical reasoning tests. So they're kind of sat on the computer at home, and you have kind of 20 multiple choice questions or so, and they're kind of just for the company to kind of gain an assessment of kind of how you think and that type of thing. And then you go on to interview stage. So the first interview is with a manager in your department that you're applying for, and that's like an hour and a half or so, and you kind of get to talk about situations you've been in and the skills that you've developed through those. And then the final step is a kind of partner interview. That's slightly shorter, but for me, as part of that, there was also like a 5-10 minute presentation that I did on a kind of area that I was interested in, or kind of a topical area. So yeah, it was a kind of so it had several stages to it, but overall kind of manageable to get through, for sure.
Cool. What was your presentation on? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I'd done quite a lot of work at business at the college on kind of the big four grocery sector, so like Morrison's, Tesco's, and all of that. And Morrison's had released their kind of quarterly annual statements. So I did a kind of presentation about Morrison's and where it was heading and kind of how it got to where it is, that type thing. So yeah, kind of focused on Morrison's, but yeah, kind of topical from the latest kind of report earnings that came out on that. But there was scope to kind of pick any topic. It was really, really open, so anything would have worked, I'm pretty sure.
No, that's really interesting. I think it's really interesting for students to hear what the kind of process is onto a sponsored degree. What made you choose a sponsored degree as opposed to just taking a non-sponsored degree, for lack of better wording?
Yeah, so I think the kind of apprenticeship type avenue is a really interesting one. you kind of get to continue your learning experience forwards, but on top of that, you also get to you know, work and apply your understanding and learning into kind of a really practical situation straight away. So you get this kind of learning and then kind of applying process, which I think is really beneficial to people's development. So yeah, I think that combination works really well. But I think, yeah, I think it was great to get the opportunity to go into a kind of big corporate firm at age 18. That was a really kind of exciting opportunity, and one that I wanted to take forwards in combination with my degree studies.
And how is your time kind of like spent? Do you spend like 2 or 3 months at university, or do you spend a shorter amount of time than that? And then how's that balanced with the work at KPMG?
Yeah, so it works that kind of when you're at university, you're kind of at university studying, and when you're at work, you're kind of doing work, and the kind of university is on the sidelines a bit. So you get these kind of two kind of areas that you kind of switch between. But yeah, it's in a few month chunks, and then a longer chunk towards the end to kind of finish everything off and do your kind of dissertation and stuff. So yeah, I think it is a good balance. It can be difficult to kind of juggle everything, because obviously the degree is a fairly time-consuming exercise, and obviously the work is hard work as well. So there can be times where it's difficult to juggle, but overall, I think being able to kind of focus on the university stuff when you're at university, and the work at work, I think is the best approach, really.
And are you just finishing your dissertation now? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, so yeah, I finished off my degree, so I did my dissertation in March. So yeah, that's quite a new kind of avenue, as in it's a lot of words and you're doing your own research. So it's something that I haven't really done before, but a really great learning opportunity and experience.
And how many words were you on for your dissertation? I think mine was 12,000. What was
Yeah,
your?
ours is 12 as well.
Yeah, it just feels so daunting. That's the thing which always gets me. But actually, when you break it down, you're like, okay, this is what my instruction is going to be about, and here's my kind of methodology, my research. Then it quite quickly falls together. But I think as you start at 12,000 words, and the importance of every single one of those a lot of the time. So with KPMG, have they given you like the added benefits of like you've had a mentor and stuff as you've worked through your degree? What kind of extra support did you get because you were on the sponsored degree?
At work, I have a performance manager and a kind of people leader. So they're both kind of looking at my performance, particularly on a work side. At uni, Durham have their own kind of support network in place, and that includes like an academic advisor and several kind of department leads. And because our program is slightly different and tailored, certainly at the start, compared to a traditional degree course, we're quite a small cohort and have kind of specialist kind of leaders and stuff at Durham. So there's plenty of contacts kind of on both sides to speak to.
And what's your degree title, just out of interest?
Yeah, so it's a BSc in accounting. But yeah, we do lots of kind of business and finance stuff as well, in combination with that. There's, I'd say, like 16 or 17 modules or so. So it's a kind of really great breadth of topics that we get to study.
And out of interest, which topic have you studied and thought that was probably the most enjoyable one of your degree?
Yeah, so I really liked my one this year, which was security investment analysis. That was kind of looking at kind of going back into time and looking at kind of the stock market and understanding kind of key academics' views on that and kind of critiquing those. So we also got to do a kind of project where we invested in stocks and kind of analysed our performance. and we did kind of group projects with this as well. So you know, it seemed quite a practice, like a great mix of kind of a history and understanding mixed with the kind of practical side.
I mean, I think that sounds like a really cool module. Like, here's a bit of money. We've learned all this stuff. We've critiqued all this stuff. Now let's see how you can do on the market. That's really cool. Okay, so I take you back to your time at Reigate and doing your maths A level. What is it that kind of sparked your interest? I suppose it might be combined with your business studies as well, but what sparked your interest to follow the route you've taken?
I was really enjoying maths and business at A level, and kind of felt like that was where my kind of skills lied. So yeah, I was kind of looking at routes that I could take, which kind of encompassed both of the subjects. And that kind of led me to the Big Four. I'd already kind of had work experience there and was interested in that kind of line of work for a while before. So it kind of felt like a natural fit when it was coming to the kind of decision time of what I would do following college. But yeah, I think looking at what you're studying alongside maths is a really good kind of way to work out which direction you should take, kind of without if you are unsure, because you know, there's so many applications and routes that you can go down with maths that kind of by looking at your other subject or you know, other subjects you're enjoying and kind of thinking about combining the two, I think that's a really good route to kind of go down.
No, I think that's great advice. Certainly, if you're not sure that you actually want to continue studying just maths, what else are you doing now? And those bits and pieces, yeah, really good advice. So I suppose the next one on my list is kind of like a funny question. If you're an animal, what would you be and why?
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people would say I'm a giraffe because I'm quite tall, but I'm not sure what else I have in common with one, really.
No, yes, I think that's definitely a fair one. What were the challenges you found, kind of like moving from finishing your A levels onto the sponsored degree? I presume did you go to university first, or did you go into KPMG first?
Yeah, went had a kind of couple of days at KPMG, kind of sorting out equipment and kind of getting to meet everybody, and then went up to Durham for a period after that to kind of start my studies, and to kind of start on the initial few modules which form the kind of basic understanding of the work. But yeah, in terms of challenges, I think the college prepares you really well, in the sense that you know, at the college there's lots of independent study, and kind of like thinking things through yourself, but there's this kind of support network of kind of teachers around, and this is kind of really kind of similar to kind of work in uni life. So I think being used to that kind of independent study with this kind of support network is really great. But in terms of challenges, I'd say probably like you find yourself, you know, in the deep end, as it were, quite a few times in you know, out in the world. So I think being prepared for kind of a little bit of uncertainty and things in that respect is probably a good way to go. Good kind of practice and thing to think about, and essentially kind of reframing the challenge to kind of a new opportunity, as you can't really get away from the challenges that you're going to face. So kind of if you can reframe them into opportunities, then you'll have a lot more things that kind of come your way, I think. So I think that kind of mindset will build up kind of a resilience to being in the deep end and to these challenges.
Okay, I think that's some of the best advice in terms of like, there's a big challenge and reframe it. Could you maybe give an example of when you've had to do that, or just explain a little bit more what you mean? Because I think that's absolutely amazing advice, but I think a lot of students won't be like, what's he going on about? So could you just give us an example? Because I think that's amazing.
Part of my job, working at KPMG, I kind of go to clients, and I kind of go to clients and kind of turn up on a Monday, and I have to go and kind of speak to the kind of finance director and kind of all of the senior team. And you know, this this can be a really kind of daunting experience, and probably sounds kind of quite nerve-wracking, especially in the first few times. But if you can kind of go, well, you know, I'm going to use this as a kind of learning experience and opportunity, and kind of just go at it. Suddenly, all of that, or you know, even if it's a little bit nerve-wracking, you'll benefit a lot in the long run by kind of working out and thinking about all the kind of learning and development that you'll get from that kind of experience.
Yeah, and I think it's just reframing the worry about maybe making mistakes into making the mistakes a positive thing. Like, you can learn from all those, hopefully not major errors, but like little marginal errors and different bits and pieces, and how you approach things in the future. Yeah, it just gives you such a positive mindset. So thank you for
Yeah,
that one, Matt. I mean, that's really cool.
I
Um,
think also that, you know, everybody's in that position to start with, so everybody's pretty understanding of where you are, you know, walking in your first few weeks and months of your career. So yeah, there's plenty of support, and people are very understanding that you're in that kind of situation, and it is a little bit new for you. So that really helps as well.
you obviously had a massive achievement in terms of getting onto the sponsored degree, because places are so competitive. But have there been any like other achievements that you've done since leaving Reigate that you're potentially really proud of?
Yeah, really pleased to get onto the KPMG kind of scheme. It was a kind of challenging, kind of and fairly lengthy application process, as we kind of previously talked about. So it was great to kind of to kind of get onto that. Further from that, I'd say like my studies at Durham. It's been great to kind of continue my learning experience kind of through my studies at Durham. Really kind of pleased that the dissertation was kind of went okay, and kind of learnt a lot from doing that. More recently than that, I've just started a blog, which is a kind of step in a new direction, and kind of putting myself out of my comfort zone a bit. So I'm kind of pleased that I've kind of, you know, gone and done that basically.
What's your blog about?
Yeah, so it's only been up for a few weeks now, but it's kind of short and kind of simple, easy to read posts on life, travel, and books. And there's kind of new posts each week, so that's a kind of new thing I'm kind of working on at the minute.
Okay, so what sparked you to do that?
Um, a lot of things really, but I was kind of coming across all of this kind of stuff that I thought was really interesting, and like I thought that I could kind of comment on it myself, and to kind of condense it, and to kind of add some different kind of nuances to it. And I thought that would be of value to people, so I thought I'll kind of put this up and start to share these thoughts and ideas that I'm kind of coming across in kind of my own. So it's just a kind of platform in order to be able to do that, really.
Yeah, no, that sounds super exciting. Best of luck with that. So I suppose that kind of leads me towards my kind of like last question. What kind of dream job? Where are you off to now? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, I think a dream job's pretty hard to define. There's lots of things changing, and everything changes so quickly. So to kind of put pen on paper and kind of narrow down a dream job is quite difficult. But as for kind of where I'm looking to go into the future, I'm keen to try secondment at KPMG. So as I kind of mentioned, KPMG has a lot of opportunities available, and kind of help businesses out in all sorts of different ways. And I'd be keen to kind of try something new and see what's on offer there. I think kind of broadening my experiences within KPMG and within the kind of client type work would be great, to kind of see slightly more sides of what we do, and how we can help clients like that. So yeah, really keen to try secondment. But overall, I'm very kind of open to trying new opportunities and kind of going in different directions and kind of trying new things. So yeah, very kind of open in general.
Well, Matt, it's been absolutely lovely to chat to you. And I think it's really nice to hear that loads of detail about the sponsored degree and the process moving forward from that, because that's so interesting, the stages you went through, and it kind of helps students understand what kind of stages might be for them when they apply for those routes. Definitely understanding the benefits of kind of KPMG and the support you've got from them, as well as just your interest and your desire to keep developing new things like the blog. So that was really, really interesting. So I thank you so much for coming on and having that little chat through.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. And yeah, if anybody's got any questions, like feel free to reach out. I'm sure we can put like my emails in the kind of box below. But yeah, if anybody's got any questions, I'm more than happy to help out. So just reach out with anything, and I'll get back to you.